Hello, everyone. My guest today is Shawn Finder. He's building a company called Autoklose.com, personalized sales outreach platform. Shawn, you ready to take us to the top?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, ma'am. So tell us about the company. What does it do and what's the revenue model? How to make money?
So Autoklose is a sales engagement platform with a built-in B2B database. So for example, if you were going to take an Outreach.io and a Zoom info, we are both combined in one. And the way we make money is a subscription model where you can either use a sales engagement or you can use a sales engagement with the B2B database inside.
So let me ask you, why wouldn't people just use Outreach plus DiscoverOrg? Why do they want it both in one? I mean, wouldn't those two techs, because they're only doing those two things, do it better than you trying to do both at once?
Great question. Sales leaders nowadays want to consolidate a lot of stuff. So instead of having two different tools they have to go to, then go to one tool. And the second would be price. Our price point is a lot more attractive than combining both DiscoverOrg and an Outreach. So a lot of clients come to us because we are, I guess, a cheaper option, but we don't also go after the same market as them, the enterprise. We stay more in that SMB, small, medium-sized business.
So what's the average customer paying per month, would you say?
So that's a great question you asked. When we started launch, we started at $9.99 a month. And as clients kept on going, we kept increasing our pricing until we found a price that people thought it was too much. So right now we're at $49.99 a month for Autoklose, and that's the sales engagement tool. And we're currently at the price of $500 a month, so $6,000 for the year for access to our entire database of 28 million contacts.
Okay, so again, on average, what's the customer paying you per month right now? It's north of $50 a month, it sounds like.
Yeah, it all depends on if they are using the database or not. If they're not using the database, they're paying $50 a month. If they are using the database, their monthly is $49 a month for Autoklose, and then so you can say about $550 per month for people using both the database and the engagement tool.
Okay, got it. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, What year did you launch?
December of 2017.
2017, and have you bootstrapped the company or raised?
We have, bootstrapped.
Bootstrapped. Okay, good. I love that. And how many folks on the team today?
There's about 30 people on the team today. I would say 80% of them are in Eastern Europe. And about a handful here in Toronto, Canada.
And how have you done in terms of adding customers? How many customers are you serving today?
Yeah, we have about 3,000 customers right now on the platform.
Okay, so you said 3,000?
Yep, 3,000.
And what's the breakdown there in terms of who's just doing the self-serve versus self-serve plus database?
I would say we're about 25% have the database and the other 75% are just on the platform.
Okay, so you're talking like 800-ish people, 800 customers are paying the extra for the database.
Yeah, and now with the database, we started at a price point where it started at $1,000 a year, and we slowly moved that up as we continue added data to the database and continued our brand of our product.
Yep. I want to dive more kind of deeper into the database side of the business, but first give me a general sense of scale. So 3,000 paying customers around, what are you doing right now in MRR?
Right now, the last month we did 81,000 last month.
Okay, that's great. So 3,000 customers, 81. I mean, that would put you at about 30. The average customer paying $30 a month across both products. Is that just because early on you did aggressive discounting? Yeah. So
it's funny. What we did at the beginning was we actually let clients pay whatever they wanted. So you can pay $1, $2 a month. So at the beginning, we had a lot of people come on for $9.99 a month. And every 2-3 months, we kept raising from $9 to $19 to $29 to $39 to $49.
Well, why did you do it so incrementally? If you're going to make a change, why not be drastic and 10x your price?
The reason why we chose that it's funny. I was at an event where David Cancel at Drift was actually talking. He said, don't give it for free. Charge even charge $1 a month, but charge something. So what we did was, and I always felt like you can always raise your price, but you can't lower your price. So we wanted to find where we started to get pushback on saying, oh, you guys are competitive or you guys are too expensive. So we went at $9.99 and everyone thought we were very cheap, and $19.99, and we kept going up. And at $49.99, we felt we had the people that said we were perfectly priced. So we didn't want to 10x it right away because we didn't want to get people not to use Autoklose. We wanted to more find where that sweet spot was. It took about 7 months to get us to $49.99. But that's where we stand today, and we're pretty comfortable with that price right now.
So 3,000 customers on average paying $27 a month, so $80,000 a month in revenue. Where were you exactly a year ago?
In our first year, we did about $340,000 in ARR.
Growth rate though. So again, go back a year. So what's it right now? June of 2018. Do you remember what you did that month?
June of 2018, we were probably in the
like 14 grand, 15.
No, I would say we're about 20 to 23 grand probably in June.
23 then. Okay, good. So you call it 4x year over year. Did most of that come from upsells on the database or just getting more volume on the $49 a month?
Upsells on the database. So the data, what I tell people is the Autoklose kind of turns the lights on, and the database what pays the bills.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Again, I guess why would people keep paying for the database after they get it once? How is that a recurring kind of option?
Okay, so we make them sign annual contracts for the database.
Yeah, so I guess my point is, aren't you going to see massive churn on 12-month renewal? Why would they renew for a second year?
I will say we do see a churn, but we also have a data team that is always updating and amending and adding new data. So you can also only email, because it's we're emailing directly from your Gmail. It's not like you can go in and blast 20,000 people from our database. You can only send, say, 200 a day from the database of 28 million. So even in a year, if you can only email 20,000 IT managers, we're still going to have over 200,000 people. So the next year, you'll also get more contacts. But once you download the contact from the database, you can only download it once. You'll always see how many new contacts you have inside the database.
Okay, I see. So you can only download it like one CSV download per year?
No, so you have to campaign to it because it's inside the platform. You actually campaign to the database, and once you campaign, it goes into your mini CRM inside Autoklose where you can choose that contact and re-email them, but you can only download it from our database into your campaign once.
So basically what you're saying is as you update or change or add, they would have to renew a second year to update it again.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
If you're updating those emails monthly, wouldn't you want some pay plan where people can get your updates monthly as well so the contacts aren't stale after 4, 5, 6 months?
Great question. So what we do is on the way when you download the contacts, we've integrated where we actually validate the email on the way out. So for example, if you choose 300 contacts from our database, you might only get 260, 270 actually emailed, because what we'll do is we'll validate it real time. The valid ones go to the campaign. The invalid ones go to our data team. They then recheck it, check LinkedIn to make sure that person's still at the organization, update the contact, and put it back in the pool. So we validate everything real time. So if a contact's 6 months old, it just won't be emailed.
If that company shut down, if the domain doesn't work anymore, something like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so a bunch of questions here. The data business is very ancestral. Everyone buys everyone else's data. Yeah. So I'm sure you are on some paid plans with a DiscoverOrg, ZoomInfo, Full Contact, web scrape. You have to be paying for data somewhere. Okay, nope. Why on earth would you build your own web scraping team to go scrape all this data yourselves?
Great question. We are actually a data company at heart. So my first startup was called Exchange Leads, which is a data company. And we built the same model as Jigsaw had with data.com. We built that 4.5 years ago. So we actually partner with nobody. The data is all owned by us.
What happened to that first company?
It's still growing. It still works, but it's integrated with Autoklose. So Exchange Leads still sells data, still sells lists. The same team that works for Autoklose works for both companies, but the Exchange Leads database is white labeled inside Autoklose. So even though they're both independent companies, my first company is the one that's filtering the data for the second.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so fine. I'll buy your argument. You're not paying for anyone else's data, although I don't know that I agree with the strategy, but you know more than me about this space. So let me just question you around what you say you have. You have your own team getting data. What data sources are they going after?
Okay, so the way Exchange Leads was built was this Jigsaw model. So it was all crowdsourced. So what happened was, say we had 10,000 clients on our Exchange Leads platform. It was people can upload their own data. We would validate it, give all those 10,000 credits to use towards our database. So as clients continue to upload more data, our pool continues to grow and grow and grow. We gave them credits and they would double their database. The exact same way Jigsaw did it. We did that 4.5 years ago, and that's how we initially built our database and then grew it from there.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess again, DiscoverOrg, ZoomInfo, like we had Henry on. I clearly understand how they're getting data. I clearly understand how Clearbit's getting data. I clearly understand how Full Contact's getting data because Bart came on, Alex came on, they all came on. The databases are much, much, much larger because they're doing things like, their Chrome extensions, right? And everyone you email, they do that. I mean, so you're not doing any of that. So wouldn't I want to go pay for a database that's bigger and more accurate and more real time?
Great question. So enterprise level, so what DiscoverOrg they do really well is, they'll let you know the decision tree of where that person is in the organization and which technologies they're using. Our database does not provide that. So our database is more for, you can say the clients that are in the small business that can't afford the $18,000 to $20,000 that DiscoverOrg, whatever they're charging. They come to us where they just want simply, the job level, job position, email, phone number, etc. We don't have a lot of the fields and the access data that a ZoomInfo or DiscoverOrg have.
Got it.
We have about 14 fields that we really focus on. But we are looking down the road to API integrate with OWL or Crunchbase.
You're talking technographic. You're talking, firmographic, technographic, email.
Exactly.
Email is usually key that links all that stuff, or a domain name or something.
If you need all those different fields, DiscoverOrg, they have a lot more stuff to provide. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to me about churn. So what's gross revenue churn annually over the past 12 months?
It was about 7.2%. The last time I checked.
Monthly or annually?
That was annually.
Okay, 7.2. And what's expansion on the same cohort?
I would say we're a little bit north of 10, maybe 10.5. Okay, so we really try and expand on the database and to try and get more people to add seats to their team.
Yeah.
So at $49.99, you have one person. We're hoping teams grow. They add 2, 3, 4, 5 seats, and we can at some point upsell them on the database.
Yep. Okay, so 103% net revenue retention, 10% expansion, 7% churn.
Yeah.
What about CAC? What are you spending fully weighted to get a new customer?
Great question. To be honest, we didn't spend much or almost anything. Right now, all I spend is a little bit on ad roll, but we do most of our stuff through using Autoklose, and I'm a big advocate of LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. My team's on LinkedIn about 8 to 10 hours a day doing prospecting. So we don't spend much.
Give me fully weighted though, right? So salaries divided by new customers per month of people doing the LinkedIn stuff counts into fully weighted.
Yeah. You know what? I'd have to look at I don't know it off the top of my head now.
Let me ask a hypothetical then. What are you comfortable spending to get a new customer? So if someone's going to pay you $50 a month, are you comfortable spending $600 first year ACV to get them?
I would say we'd be comfortable spending about $300-$400. But I mean, right now, I couldn't tell you exactly what our number is, but I'd have to look at our numbers, but I don't know exactly what the number is right now.
You haven't raised any capital, so I assume you're break even or cash flow positive today, correct?
We've been profitable after 90 days.
You mean after 90 days old of the company or 90 days of a customer?
As soon as we launched our first day, we were profitable in 90 days.
Yeah. Are you optimizing for like a 10, 20, 30% EBITDA margin, or is it basically break even?
I would say about 20%.
Okay, man, that's pretty healthy. So that's what, like $15,000 in free cash flow per month to the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's good. So what do you do with that money? You just let it build up in the bank?
Well, we're now doing a big, we did that originally, and then obviously to scale the company, we got to spend more. So we're actually doing a huge. My team is actually in Eastern Europe. We're doing a huge hiring of customer success people today and SDRs. We've hired 4 people over last week, and we're looking to hire about 7 people out in Europe right now.
Any plans to raise capital?
I've thought about it. We're actually, when my co-founder comes back in a few months from Europe, we're going to discuss how to really scale to the next level. Right now, we do have money, but obviously to take it to the next level, we're going to probably need some money, yes.
Yeah. So how much do you think, I mean, obviously you have to talk to your co-founder and people, but what do you think you would raise if you did decide to raise?
We'd have to look at the books and whatever we need for 18 months, probably about, I would say maybe a few $1 million.
Yeah. Like call it $3 million. But to have enough runway. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you'd raise for 18 months. And would you do equity, or would you look at things like debt so that you don't have to get diluted? We'd
look at all different options. I'd probably start off by doing family and friends even, but we have some connections and network here in Toronto. But it's something we're going to discuss. We weren't planning on doing it, but it's getting to the point where the hours we work every day and everything, it's probably like healthy to get a bigger team and bring some more people from Europe and get some more people local to work for us.
Oh yeah, so I mean, if you have a clear arbitrage play, you pour money into it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, what we're going to talk about the next few months, but I think it's definitely something that we're going to be looking into.
Yeah, very good. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
You know what? I'm going to give credit to The Lean Startup. Why? Because when I started becoming an entrepreneur, it was one of the first books I read, and it helped me grow my first startup. Number
2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I follow him, Warren Buffett, and the reason why is I come from a finance MBA and a finance background. So before I became an entrepreneur, I was working at the big banks. So he's always been one of my people I look up to.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your company besides your own?
LinkedIn.
Yep.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator and LinkedIn.
And number 4, how many hours of sleep you get every night?
Depends if the Toronto Raptors are playing, but usually about 6.
And what's your situation, Shawn? Married, single, kids?
I'm married right now, no kids.
Okay, and how old are you?
36.
Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I wish I knew that the Toronto real estate market was going to boom over the last 16 years, because I would have made a lot of money if I invested 16 years ago in real estate.
Guys, there you have it. Autoklose.com, a database plus email outreach platform. They're currently serving about 3,000 customers, paying $27 a month, so $80,000 a month in revenue, up from $23,000 a month just a year ago. They are bootstrapped, which is nice. 7% churn annually in terms of revenue, 10% expansion, 103% net revenue retention. Again, taking about $15,000 in profit to the bottom line every single month. So call that 10, 15, 20% EBITDA margins there as they look to scale and potentially raise here in the future. Shawn, thanks for taking us to the top.
Nathan, that was fun. Thank you so much.